Urgent Vikings fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Minnesota Vikings 2025 NFL Draft Best Players available on Day 2. The Vikings currently own only one pick on Day 2, but things could get interesting if they opt to make a trade. The Vikings added Ohio State guard Donovan Jackson with the 24th overall pick in the first round of the NFL Draft on Thursday night. They currently own only the 97th overall pick on Day 2 and 2 more picks on Day 3, but they've already been rumored to make a possible trade. Running back immediately becomes an interesting position, as Boise State's Ashton Jeanty and North Carolina's Omarion Hampton were the only 2 players at the position to hear their names called in the first round. Ohio State duo Trevion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, alongside Iowa's Caleb Johnson, are among the best players available. They could also look to add in the secondary with intriguing players like Will Johnson from Michigan or East Carolina's Shaven Revel Jr. Do they go for value and add another wide receiver like Luther Burden III from Missouri? There are plenty of talented players left on the board for general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and the Vikings to look at. 2025 NFL Draft Best Players available: Will Johnson, CB, Michigan Mike Green, Edge, Marshall Nick Emenwari, S, South Carolina Donovan Ezeruaku, Edge, Boston College Darius Alexander, DT, Toledo Treveyon Henderson, RB, Ohio State Shaven Revel Jr., CB, East Carolina Trey Amos, CB, Ole Miss Jaden Higgins, WR, Iowa State Shermar Turner, DT, Texas A&M Tree Harris, or Ole Miss Luther Burden III, WR, Missouri Caleb Johnson, RB, Iowa Quinshon Judkins, RB, Ohio State, Jordan Birch, Edge, Oregon. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Vikes news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks, now let's get back to the news. Proposed Giants Vikings trade sends star quarterback to NY as Minnesota restocks draft board. The New York Giants will almost certainly pass on taking a quarterback with the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The team committed over $15 million in guaranteed money to veterans Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency. And at least one of the 2 can't-miss prospects in this draft class, Penn State's Abdul Carter and Colorado's Travis Hunter, will be on the board, with the Tennessee Titans locked into Miami QB Cam Ward at number 1 overall. If the Giants do, for example, pass on Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders at number 3, Andrew Harbaugh of USA Today's Vikings Wire sees them making a bold trade back into round 1 to land Jackson Dart, the star QB prospect from Ole Miss. Harbaugh predicts the Giants will send pick-nose 34 second round, 65 third round, and 154 fifth round to the Minnesota Vikings for pick number 24 first round and a 2026 sixth rounder, but only if Dart is on the board, if the Giants want to make a splash in the potential last year of Brian DeBoll and Joe Schoen's tenure. With the team, trading back into the first round does that, Harbaugh wrote. If Dart falls past the Steelers, then they may start calling teams like the Vikings to move up. The package here gives the Vikings 3 picks in the top 100, which returns them to where they would have been before trading up twice last year. The Giants are expected to come out of this draft with a quarterback, just no longer with the 3rd overall pick. The team didn't sign Winston to a 2-year, $8 million deal to lead the scout team in 2025. If New York drafts a QB, the plan would be for the youngster to sit behind the team's pair of established veterans with an eye on promoting to QB1 in year 2 of his rookie-scale contract. While not apples to apples, the Vikings had a similar situation play out in 2024 with veteran Sam Darnold and rookie J.J. McCarthy. While McCarthy lost his rookie season to a torn meniscus, he was able to do enough physically and mentally to remain on track to supplant Darnold as the starter in 2025. Even if Wilson has a Pro Bowl caliber season for New York this season, Dart would be the guy for 26 in this hypothetical. While blessed with a stacked roster, the Vikings should not hesitate to trade number 24 overall to restock their depleted draft board. Minnesota needs to infuse more young talent into the team, and coming out of this draft with its 4 scheduled selections would be kind of brutal. Nick Saban reacts after Vikings draft Ohio State guard. Donovan Jackson, the Minnesota Vikings completed their offensive line overhaul by selecting Ohio State guard. Donovan Jackson, 24th overall in the 2025 NFL Draft on Thursday night. Head coach Kevin O'Connell made a directive for the offensive interior to be improved after the Vikings allowed a playoff record 9 sacks on Sam Darnold in their first-round loss to the Los Angeles Rams. There can be 1,000 excuses made, but for me, it's the foundation of the interior of the pocket that we're going to have to take a long look at, O'Connell said after the loss to the Rams, per the Minnesota Star-Tribune. Jackson proved to be the final piece of a 3-man overhaul of the offensive line, joining center Ryan Kelly and right guard Will Freeze, who departed the Indianapolis Colts to sign with the Vikings this offseason. As reactions to the first round of the draft continue to pour in, few hold more weight than legendary Alabama coach Nick Saban, who offered high praise of the move. According to The Athletic's Alec Lewis, Saban touted his approval of the Vikings' selection of Jackson on the ABC broadcast. Nick Saban, I love this guy as a player. This is a great pick, Lewis wrote in a post on X. Saban called him most athletic interior OL in draft. Nick Saban, I love this guy as a player. This is a great pick, called him most athletic interior OL in draft. HTTPST, Kawaioibze JYBG, Alec Lewis, Alec Tawas Lewis. April 25, 2025. A converted left tackle, Jackson made the move to left guard with grace at Ohio State and was considered the unsung hero of the Buckeyes' national championship run last season. When he moved back to tackle for the final 9 games across 40 starts at Ohio State, Jackson allowed just 5 sacks and 8 quarterback hits. Jackson figures to challenge starting left guard Blake Brandel for his spot and could be the third and final replacement of the Vikings' interior offensive line that was put on notice by O'Connell in January. Tonight put a stamp on a plan that we set out to accomplish, O'Connell said on Thursday. Brutal Asante Samuel Jr. injury twist leaves Vikings fans hopeless. For the last few weeks, there have been some intriguing rumors floating around about the possibility of the Minnesota Vikings signing free agent cornerback Asante Samuel Jr., who spent the last 4 seasons as a member of the Los Angeles Chargers. Unfortunately, any Vikings fans who have fallen in love with the idea of the team signing Samuel this offseason might end up with a broken heart thanks to a recent report about an injury that the veteran cornerback is currently dealing with. According to NFL Media's Mike Garafolo earlier this month, Samuel is still dealing with symptoms related to a neck-shoulder injury that kept him off the field for 13 games last season, and this has had an impact on the amount of interest that he's been able to generate since the start of free agency in March. Chances of former Los Angeles Chargers CB Asante Samuel Jr. playing for the Minnesota Vikings in 2025 seem low, as Minnesota fans know from the experience the team had with Danielle Hunter in 2020. A neck injury is nothing to mess around with, especially one with lingering symptoms. So while it was fun to think about the possibility of Samuel joining the Vikings secondary this offseason, the likelihood of it actually happening now seems pretty low after what Garafolo revealed. It's possible that things could change before the start of the 2025 season, but Minnesota's focus has probably already shifted to other free agents and trade possibilities who could be added to the team's secondary this year. Whether Samuel ends up with the Vikings or not during the next few months, the team's cornerback room is going to look a lot different next season than it did in 2024. Minnesota was able to resign Byron Murphy Jr. this offseason, but Stephon Gilmore and Shaq Griffin aren't expected to be back, and they both played a significant amount of snaps for the team in 2024. Mekhi Blackmon will be returning from a torn ACL he suffered last summer, and the Vikings also signed Jeff Okudah in free agency. But the team likely still needs to add another more reliable corner or two before the start of the 2025 season. Minnesota might even attempt to improve the talent level of its current group of cornerbacks in this week's NFL draft. Whatever the Vikings decide to do, though, one can almost guarantee that they're not done adding corners to their roster this year. Minnesota Vikings legend arrested on DWI allegations after leaving NFL draft party. After a celebratory night for the first round of the NFL draft, Minnesota Vikings legend Adrian Peterson was arrested. Minnesota Vikings legend Adrian Peterson is back in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. After a celebratory night of round 1 of the 2025 NFL draft, where the Vikings selected offensive lineman Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State with the 24th overall pick, Peterson was arrested early Friday morning in Twin Cities, Minnesota for an allegation of driving while impaired DWI. The legendary running back was back in Minnesota for the Vikings draft party, which was held at US Bank Stadium. After the conclusion of the party, Peterson was booked into Hennepin County Jail at 5:15 a.m. on Friday morning on a misdemeanor count of fourth-degree driving while impaired. It's alleged that he was impaired by drugs and alcohol. He has since been released from jail on bond. Adrian Peterson arrested in Minnesota for a DWI. Of course, Peterson was drafted by the Vikings back in the first round of the 2007 draft. He spent his first 10 years in the league with the team, making 7 Pro Bowls, winning an MVP, and racking up 11,747 rushing yards and 97 rushing touchdowns, establishing himself as one of the greatest running backs ever. He did go on to play for 6 other teams: Washington, Detroit Lions, Arizona Cardinals, New Orleans Saints, Tennessee Titans, and Seattle Seahawks after his time in Minnesota, but he'll always be remembered as a Viking. That's why he was back in the town on draft night and even took time to speak with local media. Peterson is a staple in the Minnesota community and a beloved sports legend to the NFL world as a whole. With his history with the Vikings, it's always special for fans when the team welcomes him back home in any capacity. Unfortunately, his return to his second home didn't end well this time around. And now, Vikings fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters. A lot for Vikes. I'll be back any moment with more Vikings news. Skol, Vikings!